It's awesome, awesome stuff. Yeah, they keep on leveling up. There's no rush, life is precious. Fuck that usury, all they talk is the screamy shit. I just like the bitch, and yet this way you're still listening. Pockets going up, watch your eye in the drop shit. Where they expect us, I got a lot of fuck inspiring me. All I know is trouble in the damn.
What's up, my archfiends of chaos? Your king of the night, Vincent Valentine EX Turk. Come back at you with a brand new video. I'm still kind of on vacation, but I was able to at least be able to borrow back my PS4 from the basement, so there's not going to be no cam in this. So, you know, I will be streaming a little bit later today, but I'm not here to talk about me streaming a little bit later today, so... a little bit later tonight, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, besides all of this, I want to actually get into this subject since, well, I'm able to use my PS4 for stuff. Now, I don't have cams, so there's not going to be no cam streams until Friday, so... because I have to set the PS4 back downstairs a little bit since, you know, I have company over and... you know, I gotta share my stuff apparently. Now, let's get to the video. Now, is the story Ardyn inspired from the biblical tale of Kain and Able? And I say yes, because the story of Ardyn starts with two brothers. You know, the founder king Izunia and Ardyn, Lucius Caelium. The children of Eos, or if you believe in the family of Christos Novia, the children of Etro, in technical terms. But no matter what you believe in, it starts with those two. Now now in the Bible, God only blessed Abel and not Cain. But the real reason why that is because God could sense the evil and wickedness in Cain's heart. And when you know, when he was denied, when you know, it came to fruition when Cain killed his older brother. You know, I don't know if maybe he was the younger brother, but either way, this is a story about brothers. But Cain, well, pretty much with Cain, God refused to bless Cain because he could sense the jealousy that's in Cain's heart. So he became jealous of his brother and murdered his brother in cold blood. Now, the reason why I say that this part of Final Fantasy 15 is inspired by the biblical chapter of the story Kain and Able. Ardyn's the same way, except in the Final Fantasy 15 world, there's many gods. But the many gods did the same thing that, you know, that the biblical God has done. And that's not give Ardyn the power to ascend to become the higher king, the high king, because the gods could sense jealousy out of Ardyn's heart, and it came from fruition just like it did. You know, Ardyn killed his older brother Izunia in cold blood, but as a blessing, Izunia became the very first rulers of Yor to watch over future generations of the Lucius Caelium, because how dedicated Izunia was to the Lucius Caelium lineage, and he knows he had to be a pure of heart king to use the crystal. So, you know, Izunia was the one blessed with blessed with the crystal, while Ardyn, you know, couldn't. Plus, Ardyn had demons inside of him, considering that Ardyn has cured people with the Star Scourge. With the Star Scourge makes people in the demons, so he absorbed so many of those demons as well. Now, in the story of Cain, turned into a demon because, you know, his hatred toward his lineage and where he comes from. You know, he gave his soul just to get back at everybody. And you know what? You know what character that reminds me of in Final Fantasy 15? Ardyn. Ardyn gave his soul to the demons he absorbed, just, you know, just to become, because he wanted to become the king. But since he didn't, Ardyn cursed the whole world because the crystal chose his brother and people like his brother. Because if you really think about it, Noctis reminds Ardyn of his older brother. That's another reason why Ardyn hates Noctis, because Noctis is a pretty young version of Noctis is a pretty young version of Izunia. You know, that's why he became the chosen king. And you know, in some way and fashion, Noctis became a reincarnation of Samus or Izunia, in a way. But that's not the point. The point is, the stories are similar because it's about a brother who's so jealous that the gods refuse to bless him, and then the evil brother pretty much sells their souls, become demons, and mess up the entire world just because they didn't get to be chosen. You know, they didn't get to be the chosen ones. Which makes a lot of sense because, well, gods, or no matter what god, maybe, you know, besides evil gods, but gods that believe in pure of heart, you know, such as Jesus, Buddha, you know, the gods that want you to be pure of heart, you have to be, I don't know, pure of heart to gain the gain biblical type of power or religious type of power, which makes sense because, you know, I mean, look what Ardyn did. Look what Ardyn did to the whole world. You know, after killing Izunia, it was not good enough. He killed most of his brethren. He killed Lucius Caelians with wars of Niflheim. He even got some of Niflheim people killed, you know, as well. So Ardyn's, there's a reason why envy is one of the biggest 7 deadly sins, because envy is the reason why they call it the 7 deadly sins is those are the sins the Bible or any kind of text warn you against, because it's those sins that will cause you to kill people like it's nothing. And jealousy is a big one. Jealousy, whether it's jealous because your best friend got a woman that's a model type that you really like, and she's your type, and you're jealous that she's with him and not you, could cause you to kill your friend. I mean, it's kind of like it's like the OJ case when it comes to that stuff. So, you know, pretty much, you know, jealousy is a bad sin, and no good God, I should say, no good spiritual entity is going to give you any kind of power knowing what you might become in the future. And you know what happened? You know what happened in Final Fantasy 15? Ardyn became the evil. Ardyn became the evil they had to fight. He took it over the rulers of Yor's mind. He caused wars with Niflheim and Izunia, spread the Star Scourge at far and wide, caused almost the end of the world just because of his jealousy. Because of his pure, unadulterated jealousy. Then he wanted revenge because they had to banish him so many times, which makes sense, because Ardyn became the evil of the world. See how jealousy makes you into a bad person. Jealousy makes you evil. You'll kill someone if you're jealous of somebody. That's why jealousy is bad. But it is the story of the brothers and one of them being jealous, because the gods only favor the ones that are pure of heart. And Izunia, even though he did a lot to protect Insomnia, even more than even though the comforts, even going out of the comfort zone to do it, he still stayed to what he was supposed to do, be pure of heart to use the crystal, you know. And in the biblical version, God gave Able everything he needed. Able never needed to run for anything, you know, and all of Abel's crops were good, because Abel's crops was made with love and purity, as Cain was made with hatred and jealousy in his eyes. And this is why I think that this is inspired from that biblical text, because it starts with the two brothers. It starts with the two brothers. You know, Izunia being Able and Ardyn being Cain. And both Cain and Ardyn became demons and big threats in the future because their jealousy led them to do wrong. So that's why I think this is inspired by the biblical text of Cain and Abel. Now I know it's like, oh, you're thinking too much, Vincent, but think about it. Like, really go back and think about it. Everything is inspired by something, and biblical proportions is any literature, fiction, in everything. That's why the Bible is like a huge book, if you really think about it. One of the other reasons it inspires other literature, because other literature, even movies and video games and TV shows, even superhero movies, have gone over and over using religious references. And that's because, whether you want to believe it or not, religion is a big thing. It's a huge societal thing, even in literature, if you really think about it. It's a whole battle of good versus evil, you know, and the good people get blessed and have everything they want. The evil people get punished. But then you can't really help but feel sorry for the evil people, because it was their own sins that caused their lives to go bad. Like, you can't really help but feel sorry for Ardyn in this case, because Ardyn was cursed because of his jealousy, and he was actually cursed with jealousy in the beginning, just like Kain was. But then you realize, you know, it was the bad characters and the bad guys, it's their fault the way their lives turn out to be, because they couldn't let go of their pride as well as their jealousy, because the pride is also what made it worse. Because when you get so far into your jealousy, you do get a sense of entitlement, and when you get a sense of entitlement, you don't want to ever think that your ideas can't be challenged. And that's what happened to Ardyn, as well as his realistic counterpart, Kain. You know, jealous people doesn't want to understand the truth. Jealous people want to make themselves right. Jealous people have this sense of entitlement and ego that they should have gotten whatever reward they should have gotten, because most jealous people are narcissistic. You know, they're mostly narcissistic. They only think inwards of themselves. And like I said, no holy God or God of good spirituality or good energy is going to give someone who is obviously evil, because, you know, both counterparts end up messing up the world as it is because their hatred. Because jealousy leads to hatred as well. That's another pathway to hatred. And Ardyn, that's why I say Ardyn is pretty much inspired by Kain. Because the Astrals in the Final Fantasy 15 world would refuse to give Ardyn any kind of power. Based off the facts that Ardyn has always had disgusting things inside him besides the scourge. You know, his jealousy toward his brother. He thought he should have been the king, but he wasn't. So what did Ardyn do? Kill his brother and started 3,000 years worth of wars, terror, and the Star Scourge. For 3,000 years. So before you say that jealousy cannot harm you, it can. It can make you bad. It can make you worse. It can make you worse than most prisoners. Because in order to have a jealous mindset, you have to have a narcissistic mindset to begin with, because you think you're entitled to every title or anything. You know, like I said, if your best friend's going out with a girl that you're attracted to, you better bury those feelings and get rid of those feelings, or you're going to end up like Ardyn. You're going to end up messed up in the head. So that's why it's important not to be jealous, which is a very important lesson. But the point is, that I think this is why I think it's inspired that. The two brothers. One good one who had only good intentions for the world and the gods blessed him, and the other brother that's filled with jealousy, rage, and hatred for his kind because he didn't get to have what he wanted, because he thought he thought he should be able to have what he wants. So pretty much, yeah. In all, this is why I think it's inspired of that story. You know, because they both became demons after the first murder, and it starts with the first murder of their own blood, their own brother. Can you even imagine? But this is why I think biblical literature goes in everything. Video games, comic books, movies, television shows. Everything has biblical inspiration. Whether you want to believe it or not. It's in everywhere. It's everywhere. You can't avoid it. So And it makes good for a plot too, because, well, it's very interesting stories that happen to these people. So this is my thoughts of why that this portion of Final Fantasy 15 was inspired by the biblical story of Kain and Able. The story of Ardyn is inspired by the story of Kain and Abel. And this is why I think so. So may the crystal be with you. Like and subscribe. Follow me on King of the Night Twitch. And I'm only going to be able to borrow the PS4 for now. So when I get ready to stream, just be on there. Be no cam, unfortunately.